Farah, where did you go? All right, Linksy, do you want to bounce some stuff off of me? We'll pick up with Farah as she comes back in.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
I didn't finish that. That's what I'm doing like now.
Okay.
Cool.
So I have some pointers for you.
Okay.
Okay. So I like your little guy right here. If you could just pause it on one of the frames about frame 50.
50.
Yeah, just right around there. Okay.
Okay.
So I noticed a couple of things. One, I like your character, but you're getting a little complicated in here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I mean by that is that you have some nice open and very visible shapes right here in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys over here and these guys over here are kind of small. So what you could do on your fire level, or you called it light level, is go to your main selection tool, and as long as all of this is on one level, you hold the mouse down on that guy and you say transform all drawings. And then you can take this guy, and for whatever it is, you can make him a little bigger, maybe 20% bigger or something like that. And then that'll give you a little bit more room in there to clean it up. So and to paint it too. So I would recommend doing that, just so that like I mean, look at your screen, right?
Yeah.
If you look at this in terms of cinema, you've got cinematic thirds that you're not even taking care of here. So you've got all this open space. You could take everything and make the stage smaller so that everything looks bigger, and then on top of it, get this guy to be just a little bigger. All right, so you're planning on just back and forth kind of motion, and then he crashes out of the corner, which I think is good. But I would recommend a couple of things, and that is, so go out to here, like where the glass breaks.
Like, that's the first time?
Yeah, like right here. Okay. All right, so I like these shapes here, and you definitely need to get them to tumble off the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's too many of these little lines in here. I think that you want to just kind of simplify it. Just give yourself 8 or 9 or 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
You could even bring it to there and kind of like have a little continuation into this plane if you want.
Okay.
But I think that you should simplify it.
Okay.
And then if you wanted to show that it broke through the other side and can see the corner, then make sure that we can see that corner. So start, get that little broken part to be a little bit further away. So if I would consider this part on the near plane to us, then this would be the far away plane. That would be this other plane back here, just so that you can see it a little better.
Okay.
All right, so having said that, going back to this point, I think that in here, then you can work with the crashing of these shapes in here. So you do want some little bits, but just remember that we were kind of talking about this. Hold on. From the examples that I was using of just the really simple ones for breaking glass. So, this was mud or gypsum, and this was drywall, but there were some really good examples that were just really simple. This one right here is fine, right? It's a good example. Once you click on it, you're going to get a whole bunch of different cross references. This one here is about as complicated as you'd want to make it. And so there's a really good example there. There's really good references in here for how random this inner shape is here. Whether it was a fired from a gun, or it was a baseball or a twig or whatever it was that actually broke the glass. There's more of a random quality to, now I don't know how to get back to where I was. I've done this before, and now I don't know how to get back out of this. So, I have to figure out how to get out of this. Hold on. Hold on. Something funky is happening with my Zoom control here. Oh, that's not what I want. Stop it. Stop. All right. So, can you see the screen again? Can you see your project up there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see my project.
Can you see your project on my screen?
Right now, we all have a view of her screen.
Just her screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see my green lines on here?
Yeah, I can see the green line.
Can you see me drawing?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing is that, so what I was going to say is that this shape is just a little too round.
Oh, okay.
So I think that what might make more sense is if you think about the shape of the away plane. Just start with that as a place to break it, and then this can have more of a angularity to it, so that this is like the inner shape. So rather than being a part of a circle, make it so that it looks like broken glass. So this is the away shape right here. And then from here, then you can add in your other broken lines.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and what else are you going to plan on doing?
I want to do the thing we drew first week. I forgot the name. Like for the following.
Pixie dust?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So something else just occurred to me. So let me do one more thing for you. Remember that when you divide your screen up into cinematic thirds, right? You've got a focal point right here.
Yeah.
You've got a focal point right here. You've got another one about right here. So this is your cinematic thirds. And remember that when you're doing that, each one of these rectangles should be this approximately or identically to the same proportion as the overall screen. So these become very important. And there's also a focal point that's right in the middle. So if you have all this action happening right here, you should probably move everything to the center, because when you do that, you're gonna, so let me just show you just by what you're drawing is that what you should probably do is take your stage and make it like somewhere around like this. Because then what it'll do is it changes your focal points to
Okay.
here and here and here and here. And you could even force this to be more towards the middle, but that'll give you a place to let the glass fall.
Okay.
Right, and you're going to do pixie dust on the little on the little orb thing.
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering. But remember, you know, this looks like a good idea because I don't really care about the box all that much. But look at all this unused space,
Yeah.
right?
Right. I got it.
Got it? Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you can stop sharing.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Sorry, my Wacom tablet's freaking out right here. I'm going to try unplugging it and plugging it back in again. All right, who would like to go next? Anybody? Mark, you're next. I'm sorry, Farah, you're back. You're back.
Yeah, yeah, my laptop ran out of battery, but when that happened, I lost all my work, so I don't have
nice.
it anymore. Yeah.
Don't you just love that?
Yeah.
The best.
I lost everything. I wasn't too far, thankfully, but I just lost everything I was working on. So I know I'm not ready yet.
Okay. Mark.
All right.
Okay. Okay. It's still like in a work in progress.
No, it looks good. I'm just kind of parsing it out. All right, so if you could pause it so that you're right about there. Yeah, pause it right about. Nope, go backwards just a little bit.
Right around here.
Okay. So, uh-oh. Now my Wacom thing is not working. All right, there we go. A couple of things to think about here. As the orb comes through, does it break the window?
Yeah, I still need the glass in there.
Okay, so make sure that you, in your timeline, do a little pause so that if you have the center point on this orb, right, and it was moving at a rate that was equivalent to coming up into camera in perspective, when it hits this, let it give a little bit. Put a couple of frames together that are more close to each other, as opposed to just letting it come through the window like it was, that there was no window there at all. So if you put 3 or 4, maybe even 5 frames together, where it just gives a little tug, it'll help the illusion of breaking glass just a little more. Now, are you planning on doing like a pixie dust following behind this?
Yeah.
Well, remember, like I said earlier, that if you think that's a good idea and you like that idea, but you just don't have time to produce it, you can start it and then let me know that you're just going to finish it at some point or another so that I can help guide you. So I like the idea that it hits the books. That's nice. I think that if you do have the pixie dust, when it hits the books, just like Tinkerbell, there'll be like a little flurry of pixie dust as it interacts with those books. All right, so then go out in your timeline somewhere about right here, 140. No, back up a little bit. Oh yeah, right there. Nope, wait, no, I can't see your mouse. Yeah, right there. So when the orb crashes into the liquid that's in the pot here, I want you to explore the idea of this splash being a lot bigger. And so, and then once again, I'm drawing with the cone. So these are in the back. These are more up front. This is more up front. This is right in front of us. Right, you see that? And then you can hook these together. So I think that your splash should be quite a bit bigger. And then little bubbles. And then remember too that you have that, as long as this is going into the water, go back to our little lecture demo thing, that the first thing is the splash that goes out for sure. But then you've got another second splash of the drop of water that comes up. Remember that part?
Yeah.
And then it too goes back down and has like a secondary little splash in there. All right, so what else are you planning on doing with this? You're going to be doing anything over here?
Planning on maybe like doing like a explosion for the cauldron, but I don't know if that might be a little bit too hard.
I don't know if it would be hard, or maybe just, you know, you've got an orb. Hold on. I don't know how I did that. Can you still see my screen?
A little bit.
It's very strange. It got smaller, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to do that. So you've got the orb. You've got, you know, and if you have the pixie dust here, you know, that's good. You've got the splash. And I think that after the splash, in order to just kind of work with this space over here, it might be fun to just do like a little bit of
like a smoke effect.
Smoke, yeah, something that just kind of, just a one-time thing where the thing cut, like the wind just kind of blew it over and kind of, it just goes out. And you don't have to do that right away. I think you've given yourself enough to do over the next couple of days. But work on this splash being bigger. Definitely get the splash to be more substantial.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You can stop sharing your screen.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, Uma. All right, one more time. All right, so do you want to walk us through your idea? You've got a hand coming in and he's pouring some sort of magical death liquid into this cup. And the cup explodes, right? The cup shatters. What else are you planning on doing?
I was gonna have an orb come out of the cup.
Oh, okay. And then crash through the window?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you some pointers. I think that you've got too many little jagged parts here. And if the cup were just like a regular teacup, then plan on it being just a little bit more iconic so that it's less little shapes, less shapes. And remember to see if you can still maintain a three-dimensional quality on that if you can. But there's too many little parts right there. All right, and then when the liquid flows out of the death bottle, I would just use more of a stream of liquid like this, rather than the tiny little splashes that you have. I mean, you could still have a few droplets like this, but let it pour more like bigger liquid than the little splash that you have. You know, and because this is poison, it could release a little vapor if you want. You could, after you poured it, you could wait for a beat, you know, down in here. You could give yourself just like 24 or 36, 24 or 36 frames to just play with the idea of there being like a little death, the death smoke that just comes up and goes off the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then as soon as this breaks, I think that what you want to do is you want to pick a center contact point, and then that's kind of like a little mini explosion, so that when everything radiates from this point, that means that the little handle for the teacup should actually fall over this way. Don't just let it come straight down. Give it some force. Let the little handle fall over here, and let the shards that were the little ceramic teacup fall over here on the table. And this stuff can fall off screen. And once that happens, it does reveal that there is an orb, right?
Yeah.
And the orb just becomes like sentient. At this point, the hand is already out. This little wispy smoke stuff is already gone. And that now the orb can rise. I think that it can just, you could even do like a little wiggle right here. And it could, if you want, just go straight out the window, but it might be fun if the path of the orb looks more like this. And then it crashes the window right here, and then you can crash your window. So having said that, I think that it would probably be fun to play with the design of the orb itself, and start with a circle, but remember that it's going to be a sphere. So kind of draw it as a sphere as you're animating it, and then kind of think to yourself, maybe there's a center core that's a different color. It's a hot color, and it moves from hot to cool, right? So you can kind of give it a hot center. And then it moves more into the cool. And then having said that, put more of a neutral color. See if you can explore a few little elements of magical plasma that surrounds the orb itself, and either rotates around it or emanates from the middle and then dissipates as they go outwards. So let me see if I can switch over to, I think I had one bookmarked. Well, I bookmarked this one the other day. You know, something like that might be a little much to produce, you know, this whole thing in just a couple weeks. But right there, you see the little like plasma that's coming off the orb right there? Right there, see that? Right there. Right there. Something like that might be really cool. And even this little, just going back to your own design and thinking, boy, that's a really good reference. Just maybe paint this blue and kind of borrow from that example, just like I showed you, just a little more, where you paint the line of it blue and you fill it with a radial gradient. And then the radial gradient is very, very light blue. And then it goes from the very light blue into just a little darker blue. And then put a transparency node on it so that you can kind of get at this kind of effect right there. You know, try something like that. That might be really fun. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Wilma. Christian.
Yes. So I did like a rough sketch slash with color with the concept that I wanted.
Okay.
And I even like annotated everything that I want to do.
Okay. I'm reading right now. All right, so is this pumpkin gonna crash into the water?
Yeah.
Tree comes alive. Okay, be careful. How much are you gonna have this come to life?
Not much really. The initial like state of the tree is gonna be like a regular, like died out, creepy tree. That when the orb hits it, it's gonna like glow up like the jack-o'-lantern on the roots.
Okay.
Kinda. And there's not much of movement, just like flashiness.
All right, so I want to just give you a hard time about this tree, because it's like I have this pet peeve about trees. You know, this little part of the root system, if this is a cone, then the roots should radiate from the bottom of the cone. So draw these roots just a little bit more organically.
Yep.
And I think that, you know, you got a mouth for the tree, you've got eyes that can come alive, but trees get thinner as they go up. And so you've got all this weird little space in here. You can also, at this point, break it off into two main branches. And then this would be fine if you want to give it some sort of anthropomorphic little hand or arm looking thing. Think about these things being fingers, right? This is the thumb, and then it's got 3 fingers. And remember that the branches get thinner as they go out towards the end. So just kind of redirect this so that you're following an example more of a traditional oak tree or something like that. What are the words here for the moon?
Translate, it just moves from one side to the other.
From like over here? Or it goes from here and it moves. Does it go all the way off the screen?
Yeah, like it goes all the. God damn it. 1 second.
No. You don't have to explain. Because I think
it goes all the way to the other side, like right outside.
Right. I think that it would probably be better if you bring your horizon down just a little bit. You know, like somewhere in there. And then have the moon. I don't think the moon needs to do anything else except stay where it is, but go from full to half to a quarter to a new moon. So you start out with it being a full moon like this. It's all yellow and white and stuff. And then it becomes a half moon. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it becomes a quarter. And then it becomes a black moon. Because that'll cycle better and it's easier to produce. The moon doesn't travel laterally anyway. The moon would move up. But because you don't have a whole lot of space here, just have the moon go through a transition from full to half, you know, 3/4 to half to quarter to new, just right here. And then if you're thinking about it, the progression would be you start with a full moon. I'm going to just draw it right here for you. So you start with a full moon, and then you go to 3/4 moon, then you go to half, and then you go to a quarter moon, and then you go to this. So this is black, and then you can bring it back the other way then. So as it's going through its cycle, have it go. I'm trying to think of how this would work. Well, you could just have it go backwards. So then so it goes full, 3/4, half, quarter, black moon, and then have it just come back again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's your sequence, and you might need an in between each one of these just to get it to work. So, and the moon just stays in one place, right? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, a total of 15 key positions for the moon. If you wanted to move anything laterally, then just use the clouds.
Yeah.
And just draw some clouds in here that are more like this. And they're just moving from off, you know, in front of the cloud. So separate this sky back here as your main background. And then the next layer would be the moon. Then the next layer would be the clouds. Then the next layer would be this mid-ground here with this horizon in the background, and then put everything on top of it. But try this kind of translation of the moon more than just moving it. All right, so what's going on with this little box right here? It's a plasma box.
Yeah, that's pretty much where the orb is going to be initially. That's my first one, but then I keep thinking it doesn't make sense.
Well, no, it's okay. A box with a plasma thing is allowed to be there, but what happens to it?
So that's the glass part. That's when like the orb starts shaking around and starts breaking the glass almost to shattering.
Okay, so you've got like the shaking going on, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens to the orb? Then the orb comes up and knocks the pumpkin in the water.
Yeah, pretty much. The pumpkin goes into a jack-o'-lantern phase, like really briefly, and it gets knocked down.
And it splashes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And then the orb.
Then the orb goes to like where the crosses is, and like where the pixie does, like briefly, just creates like an eerie mist, and then it bumps into the tree.
And the tree comes to life?
Yes.
Okay, so you might want to explore just the texture on the tree being like some closed eyes and a sleepy little mouth, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden when it hits the tree, his eyes get really big and his mouth opens up. And you could use this same kind of approach here where you you animate from the sleepy eyes, sleepy mouth into more of a and you could even move the arm a little bit, right? This arm can just, you can just do this like we were moving objects and pivot it right at the point where it hits the tree, and just, you know, just have this arm move up and down a little bit, and then it becomes fully awake, and then it goes back to sleep again, right? So the orb knocks over the pumpkin, it brings to life some souls in the garden, it brings the tree to life, and then from that point, the orb can just go off the screen. That's just what I see.
Yeah.
Okay, you got that?
Yes.
Okay, you can stop sharing.
Where's the mouse? There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jesse.
Give me 1 second. So far I'm just trying to get some of my effects down. Nothing's really timed out. Oops. Nothing's really timed out at the moment, but
Okay.
I have so far glass, lightning, I'm working on fire, and then I have some different types of bubble pops. So, do you want me just to go one by one with them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this is the glass so far. And let me know if you need me to zoom in or anything.
No, I think you're okay. I'm just stop looping it. So what I want you to do is, yeah, touch the first frame. There you go. And then hit the G key. Okay.
So it goes,
Keep going.
that's first break, and then second, and then the pieces come out.
Yeah, I think it's okay. And then for the entire movie, quote unquote, you're only going to have that broken once, right? It's not going to.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be silly to sit there and break it over and over again.
Oh yeah, this is just I just have the effects, some of them made right now. Nothing's timed out in sequence at all.
So one consideration would be is to maybe have, because you got a big window plane, is to have a couple of these tendrils go deeper into the bottom part, and a couple that go deeper up into the upper part, just aesthetically.
Should I do those on a like I have my first break and then second? Should I do those on a third or put those on the second?
Third or fourth, maybe even a fifth. All right, let me see what the lightning looked like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna just jump over. Can you see me now? No, you're still sharing.
Do you need me to stop sharing?
I'll come back to it because there's one thing that I would like you to explore, but let me give you some hints before that, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, scroll up and let me see what you're thinking about for your basin. Well, actually, I could just do that right here. Hold on. Yes, let the lightning go a couple more frames. Just hit your G key. Okay, right there. One thing that you may want to explore is the idea of the lightning releasing a little bit of plasma, which happens sometimes, so that these little effects go outwards and they dissipate. So it cracks and then it releases just a little bit of plasma, and it's kind of like ripples in water, where it just goes frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 1, frame 2, frame 3. And I can give you an example of that here in just a second. All right, so let me see what you're thinking of for your cauldron.
So far, this is like my third try at fire. It's been looking kind of shaky with the past ones.
This one's looking okay. One thing that you may want to do though is squish it so that it's
shorter.
You can use your transform all drawings tool, and just because it looks like it might be just a little too high.
Something like that.
Yeah, and make it wider too, just by a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, and then move it over to the right. Okay, yeah, let it play right there. Let me see it. So yeah, I think that the only thing that I think that you should explore is the idea of maybe a little bit of fire over here,
Mhm.
and a little bit of fire coming up. I'm still in my pencil mode. Coming up from between those two logs, like in here.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll just round it out. And these can just be separate cycles. So it looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah, it looks like 9.
You have 9 on 2s. And so just do a little cycle of the smoke right here, operating on the same level.
Mhm.
And then pick a new color, right? And get yourself a gradient and make your gradient go from red to orange to yellow. And then remember that your edit gradient tool is under the white arrow.
Yeah.
And then to rotate your gradient so that the red is on the bottom and the yellow is on top. And I think that having said that, I think that what you want to do is you want to make sure that these shapes are really clean, and so that you only have to paint the fire once. And remember, we had a little discussion about chasing vectors,
Mhm.
because if you have any of these little shapes that are just a little too sharp up in here, and you pick, we'll switch over to the paint bucket tool for just a second. So, and you have this tool here, which is close large gaps. And you can click this little button, and you can see that you have a whole bunch of different options here. But if you pick close large gap, what's going to happen is that the gradient fill might not fill into the corner. And so you're not going to get this little shape. And so try to stick with a really clean drawing. Like for instance, this right here, how did you draw this? Was it with the pencil?
It was just the paintbrush tool, but I could switch to pencil.
Yeah, you
for
probably
Final
want to
Pass.
do it in pencil, because a pencil is going to give you a vertex right down the middle of the line, where a paintbrush is going to give you vertices on the exterior. So you're going to have 2 sets of vertices with the paintbrush and only 1 set with the pencil. And then that way, try to keep this really clean looking. And then so when you do the paint bucket, paint it with a gradient and just see if you can get this whole area to fill in with just 1 click. And then there lies the little thing about, if these are interior shapes, those are going to have to be really clean too. All right, and then my next recommendation would be is to, you got burning wood here, so could you pull out, just perfect. All right, so then, no, move the whole thing down just a little bit.
Down this
Down,
way.
not up, down, down a little bit more. All right, so the next thing that you might want to try is to work on just a little bit of steam, a little bit of smoke. Sorry, I'm not, I can draw that better, hold on. So you're just gonna get this, something like that. And again, I'm looking at nodes, right?
Yeah.
Always nodes. And then the thing here is that this can start to dissipate. So it's got a hole in it. A couple of holes in it, something like that. All right, so let me show you that plasma thing. Go ahead and stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
And hopefully I'll be able to find this really quickly.
Do you know if you can do a gradient with the alpha level, where like one side is at 100% and then the other is at maybe 25%, or does it just work with the actual paint?
I think you've just asked a very profound question. I wanted to animate a gradient over time. You know, I wanted something automated where the alpha would change from a 50% transparency to 100% transparency over 10 frames, 15 frames. There's like this, there's a way to do it, but it's like, I've forgotten how to do it. Right, what I'm looking
on
for.
that note, I've had trouble with a linear gradation if it's not going from up to down, because it doesn't seem, as far as I know, it doesn't look like Harmony lets you choose what direction the linear gradation goes. But surely they have to, because like it would seem weird that that wasn't a feature, but it just seems like it, at least from the color thing.
Yeah.
It can only go up to from up and down, as opposed to like right to left or something.
All right, so this is not exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm trying to remember where I saw it. Not that one. Oh yeah, this guy right here. So he was just doing a demo. And keep in mind, I'm recording this, so you can come back to it. But what I can also do is I'll put this, I'll copy it and put it in the chat area in just a moment. But this one's kind of fun because he, my computer is not responding, and so I have to go back to it. The thing that he does in this one is that he kind of cheats a little bit, and in his demo, he's doing this like a nice little illustration on the cloud, and then he's like, okay, there's my trajectory. Here's like his contact points, and then he's going to go around those points. And then he doesn't explain it, but this is what I'm talking about right here, where he's like dissipating the plasma energy, but he's not explaining it slowly enough. But just watch. So he fills it in, but then he doesn't fill in the plasma on the right and the left of the little lightning, but it shows up in the end. Watch. See it?
Yeah.
See those little bits that are coming off of it?
Yeah.
So I would recommend something like that. So I'm going to put that one directly in the chat area. So something like that, I think that would just spruce it up a little bit. Again, he did his little lightning thing, which is kind of cool, but he didn't show you the follow through on the two little plasmas on the right and the left. Okay. Farah, are you ready yet?
A little bit longer.
Okay. Kristen, did you already show me yours?
Me?
Christian.
Yes, I already showed.
All right, Daniel.
Cool. Share screen. There we go. Go back here.
Man, it's cold today.
It is cold.
God damn it is.
He turns himself into a log.
Yeah, it's like a
And then the
Japanese
log-
trope.
Then the log explodes too.
Yeah. So yeah, he just jumps in. The effect would be like these wavy smokes. Then this would be the orb with a little plasma
Sure.
going out of it.
Right.
He blows it up. A big puff of smoke. This is gonna have pixie dust as well.
Okay.
Then there's the bomb, and then the explosion at the end.
Okay.
Well, I don't know
so-
about you guys, but the new Boruto episode looks amazing right now.
Okay.
I didn't hear you say that again.
I said the new Boruto episode looks great. It's just a show that involves ninjas and stuff. And they do shenanigans like turning into logs.
All right, pause it right there. Pause it and then go forward just a little bit in time.
Okay.
Okay, so right here, he's taking his arm and he's going to have a contact point of the little magical orb thing hitting the ground about right here.
Mhm.
And you have this explosion happening all over him, which I think is fine, but it might make more sense if he kind of makes this thing come more towards center.
Mhm.
And so then you can have the explosion of him disappearing just be a little bit more realistic.
Gotcha.
Now remember your forces. Remember that the whole idea is that this orb is going to explode and it's just going to do that. And so from that, then you can get your energy curling over this way.
Right.
And then this energy curling over this way. And this energy curling out like this.
Mm.
Those are your vectors.
Mhm.
So up and over to the left, up and over to the right, down and up and over to the right this way, and this way. So, and if you can get any of that in there, I think it'll be better.
Okay.
Remember that you can even kind of plan the stuff to go up and off the screen a little bit. Because what'll happen is that you'll get these really cool overlapping shapes, like even a couple of smoke plumes that are right in front of the camera like this.
Right.
And so as I'm ideating here, you can kind of see that I've got a whole bunch of really cool shapes right here, some really strong vertical lines,
Mhm.
right? And then this stuff going out, and then this in front. And so even with this little sketch here, you can see that there's the possibility of some really great shapes like that.
Yeah, that looks good.
All right, so again, I'm recording this, so I'm gonna clear this. So I think that so now go down the timeline just a little bit. All right, so yeah, go backwards to like frame 122. Yeah, so work on that because that thing that I just drew right there
Yeah.
will help the performance of these cloud smokes, right?
Right.
It'll just give you that kind of look to it. All right,
Yeah,
so
I do have a slightly different version that I was trying out too. I think it's kind of similar. It's just more like something like this. I guess.
yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's better.
Okay. I'll go with
Okay,
that one
so
then.
then go down the timeline.
Okay.
All right, and then he turns himself into a log. And is there something culturally that I missed about turning yourself into a log?
Yeah, it's like a stereotype, just like a trope of ninjas. It's like you're seeing like a mirage, and in reality, all you're seeing is like a log that's just right there,
All
and
right,
then you like stab the other in the back.
It's like a substitution trick.
Yeah.
all right. I would just kind of make it more tapered.
Mm.
Just a little bit more tapered.
More
And
appealing.
also might make this little branch here a little bit more visible.
Okay.
Is there a leaf on there?
Yes, right on that
So
little
go
branch.
ahead and play with it like that. just to give it a little bit better of a silhouette.
Okay.
All right, and then this is going to do the explosion thing, where it's a fuse and you got pixie dust.
Yep.
Are you going to do that thing where you have a little curl of smoke?
Sure. Why not? I wasn't
Right.
planning on it, but it'd make it better, I think.
So then it's going to explode.
Yep.
And so you can just do that very, very typical thing of picking a center point, right? And from the center point, just go back to our explosion.
Okay.
And explode. So what happens after the explosion?
Kaboom. I wasn't really planning much after.
All right. Did you do your water splash yet?
Yes, I put it on the volcano.
Okay. All right. So what is this thing over here?
It's like what do you call it? It's mannequin-ish. Just like a punching wooden thing. I'm not sure how they're called, but yeah, it's like an obstacle that people use to train to punch. I looked that up.
But it looks more like a cat tower.
Oh, I guess it does, huh? Yeah, I mean, I can. It's a different layer, so I can.
Well, I think that it doesn't matter, but I think that with this explosion, you got to wreck the room. You know, this thing has to fall over. You know, you're going to want to break your doors. And is this a window?
Sure. Sure,
Because
let's say yes.
Because I think that what could happen is that after this thing explodes, what happens to the actual log?
Just ash, just little parts of it all over.
So on the ground, then you're going to have like this blast mark, right?
A little crater.
Yeah, you can have a crater if you want, but more importantly is this blast mark. You know, just like it all radiates from the center point. So that means that this thing is going to fall over, right?
Okay.
Whatever it is. But the window, so after everything down the timeline, after it's exploded, you know, 1836 frames later, then you can just crack your window. Right?
Sure.
I think that it would make sense. And then just have one or two pieces fall out of it, just like we did in our demo from a couple weeks ago.
Okay. I'll add that then, for sure.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, beans. That's what I say, beans.
Beans.
All right, Tom. Tom, are you there? Tom. 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 All right, Jack.
Okay, dokie. So we've talked already. Where the hell is? Sorry, Zoom is not on my window right now. We talked already about how I explained we were I was in extremely rough, or I think I should be doing something kind of really rough because I did not pick my the scope of my assignment very carefully.
Do you have you have something to share with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically what I've been focusing on is throws the ball. I kind of scoped in that little tornado thing because it helped me kind of visualize what I'm doing. But for the most part, I think I'm going to ignore the cloud here, clouds there. Like what happens to them when the explosion happens, I don't know. I don't care. There's 2 weeks left of school. I can't really think about that when I still have to have an explosion proper occur. White flash, the background would come back. And then there'd be the glass breaker ground break sequence down here.
Okay.
Yeah, since it's really early on this and given the time frame we have, that's kind of what I'm going to focus on and less on what happens to the tornado. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, keep rolling with it. Take a break, everybody. I'm gonna go get a lemonade, take a break.
Cool.
All right. There you go. This side. Oh, like just something nice and simple.
All right, so this is for your final.
Oh no, this is just my water splash, so I
Just
can
the
get
water
this out of the
splash?
way. Yeah. I just need to figure out the splash, and then I'll be done with that.
All right, so what I would recommend here is maybe a little bit larger volume of water
Mhm.
that pools up on the end of this leaf, because what you have is kind of small. And what that'll do is it'll give you the opportunity to play with that water splash. The bigger, the better here. Remember that this stuff is the away water, and then this stuff is in front. See that little three-dimensional quality there?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think your water splash needs to be at least this big. So if you play with the idea of this volume of water coming down the branch, and it doesn't have to be like anything more than just, these are your keyframes, right? This is just key 1 is off the screen. This is like key 13. This is like key number 21. This is 31. It slows down. Right here, this becomes like key 41. And then it goes right down into the splash. What would be an interesting thing here is that once you pass this 13 position and go into the 21 position, that the leaf used to be up here. And the water hitting this 21 position actually was enough weight to bring the leaf down into this position. See that?
Mhm.
And so by the time you get to 31 and 41, the leaf is in the position that you've drawn it in. Once this happens, once this water falls, the leaf goes back up again. And I think an easy thing for you to play with would be, in animation, there's a thing called a stagger. And so what happens is that this is your 41 position, because it's easy to go from 21 into 41. You just animate this tip going downwards, right? You animate the whole leaf going downwards. That's your whole motion is down. Once it's released, though, the weight is off the branch and it's going to go back up again. But the way a stagger works is that it goes all the way back up to its original position. It goes past it, and then it does like a little diving board thing where it staggers to a stop. So if this is keep the very tip of the leaf for position number 41, and then this up here is probably drawing number 45. And then this right here is going to be drawing 40. It depends on your timing. This can be 47 or 49. And then this can be 49 or 51. And then this one right here, it's going to be 53. And then it comes to a rest on drawing 55. 55. All right, so do you understand that?
Yeah.
So this is all happening while this splash is happening. But I would highly recommend that because you're bringing this water in on a leaf. And so that would be my advice to you. Make the water splash nice. Remember that you've got the ripples that come out concentric from the center, right? So what are you going to be doing with your other focal points? Anything? Nothing?
That's probably just going to be background detail. Like some,
All right.
maybe I'm
So,
gonna add some lily pads or other plants.
all right. So, and what is your final looking like?
The final is just gonna be a magic orb, like a summoning circle, and then some magic comes in from off the screen. It condenses into an orb. It kind of just bounces there for a second, and then it kind of starts cracking, and then it explodes.
Do you have a drawing?
Drawing, I do, but I would have to pull that out. It's the same thing I showed last week though. Should I stop sharing my screen so then I can pull
No,
it up?
no, go ahead. You can just call up the drawing.
Sure. As soon as my computer starts working. Let's see here. There's also, I think, this one. Yeah, it was this.
So you have to share your screen with us or
Oh.
something. Because right now I'm just seeing your Harmony.
Can you see it now? Oh, no.
Nope, not yet.
Okay, how do I change that?
Just stop sharing your screen and then start again or something.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
It was this. I'm
Right.
going to change the fire to just some torches in the background.
To change it to what?
I'm changing my fire to some torches in the background.
Torches, okay.
Yeah. But everything else applies.
But are you gonna do another water splash?
No, not anymore.
So explain so your orb is here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's doing its thing. So explain, are you gonna have like torches on the wall? This is gonna be like a dungeon or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to replace the cauldron down below with some magic circle or something. Some summoning circle that you would see in a cartoon. I was thinking originally there's not going to be an orb. Some magic is just going to come in, condense around, and then that forms the orb.
Sure, why not? That sounds good.
Thank you. And then it kind of bounces like this for a few seconds before it starts cracking. Some magic starts leaking out.
So put some pixie dust. Cracks. Have the pixie dust become the thing that is the orb, right? Yes?
Yeah.
And is it going to then push down into the area of a cauldron or something?
I'm thinking when it breaks, maybe. My idea is that the magic is kind of unstable, so it doesn't last for long.
So it's going to have like a plasma explosion?
Yeah.
So what I would recommend is, and I did this effect for like a Coca-Cola commercial like 20 years ago, is that start out with like a little template like this, and then have little pieces that radiate from it. And plasma is like an energy. It's like electricity and energy and static electricity all together. And so what's happening is that it is an explosion, but it's kind of like an electrical explosion. And what you can do then is you can play with shapes. You can play with like really sharp shapes, like especially that one, like I just drew right there. So, and you can mimic that where there's another one over here. So this is just a keyframe. And so there's two of them working threes. So get this one to come up over here. And so this little piece animates off the screen very quickly. So it's going to go to so it's maybe starts the timing starts from the center, and then frame 1, frame 2, and then this is frame 3. Then it accelerates a little bit. And so this shape right here, it used to be like this. Now it's the green one. And then as it goes off the screen, it becomes like this wild shape. And then from this, you can get inspired and you can make lots of sharp little pieces on it. Same thing with this one. You're going to have drawing frame number 1, frame 2, frame 3 right here. And then frame 4 is going to be like the plasma energy just kind of going off the screen this way. And the same thing with this one. So there's a couple of things. One is that you've got that motif of the spires working. But then you can work with shapes that look like just triangles that also go off the screen itself as a plasma explosion. And they can come right towards the camera. And you could have as many of these. Make sure that you time them a little differently. And then you can also add in a whole bunch of other stuff too. You can add in, well, this whole thing can be a spiral so that the spiral kind of takes over the screen, right? And you can try a whole bunch of different stuff with it. The other thing that you can try is working on a shape that's like this. And I'm intending these to be really sharp and straight, but my surface is really slippery. So, and then you would paint this, right? So this is like one, it starts out really small. And then maybe there's a shape in between these two, and then it just encompasses the whole screen. So you have 1, 2, and then this is 3. And then it's all yellow for a second. And so remember when we were doing our black, white, black frames? That's the equivalent of this. So, and make sure that you time it so that you can see all these cool shapes, because you're gonna have this yellow thing become, it's gonna be yellow and then maybe white and then yellow again for an explosion. And then go in and do these green things coming out, and then do the triangles. So you can give yourself like a plan. So you do the spirals first, right? You just kind of like just do this little spiral energy. So do the spirals first. The second would be the star. The third would be these guys, and time them a little differently so that they all 3 don't happen at the exact same time. And then 4, you can do the triangles. And then the 5th thing that could happen, you could revisit the spiral again, but going in the different opposite way. So if this one was this way, then this 5th spiral would be opposite, right? So you do 1 counterclockwise, 1 clockwise, and then 6, 7, you can try 8 different things, and then try the pixie dust in there. Remember that when you're painting this yellow thing, that you can put a transparency node on it, so it doesn't have to be just a solid shape. All right, you get that idea?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and then, so I think that you just have to end it. Just if this thing does explode, the plasma explodes like that, what happens to this surface underneath it?
I was thinking maybe that magic circle could disappear, and then like the torches in the background go out maybe, and
Well,
then in the end, the residue of pixie dust can just trickle down.
Well, it might be kind of neat to think that this is like an ancient circular room, and that you have maybe two doors and 3 windows. So it's like a circular room. And therefore that there's like a pattern on the floor. Just some sort of mosaic pattern on the floor. So these are like tiles. And this little plasma explosion that's just happened right here has disrupted these tiles, and you can break the tiles like we were breaking with glass. Or you could just leave like the remnant, the charred remains of the explosion behind it. Or there's a bunch of things you can do.
I like that.
So yeah, try something like that.
All right. All right, thank you for the help.
Great, you're welcome. All right, Key, do you have something for me now? Nothing? You got nothing?
Nope.
Hate you.
Honestly,
All right,
it's
Tom.
the worst.
I know.
Tom, are you there yet? Tom. Tom has been connecting to audio for 2 hours now.